it feels like a little bit of pressure when like someone names you that.
Yeah.
But then you feel like, okay, I've got something really kind of cool to live up to. I'm like, I take this stuff kind of seriously. I feel like, you know what, that's nice. So maybe I can actually, with just my small interactions in the world, make a difference. I started out in a circus in San Francisco. I was just trying to get a gig. I was 21 years old and, skinny, and I like to, do weird things. I think maybe all the things that sort of created the person I become was because I had these sort of, I wouldn't say they're not handicaps, but I had these challenges.
Yeah, differences. But being different is really cool.
It's
you just don't realize it at the time.
You don't realize it when you're a kid.
It's the coolest thing ever.
You want to be like everyone else. Listen, I had a name Colman Domingo. I didn't even want my name.
You got the coolest name
But I wanted
ever.
to be like Bob or Chris or Max or something like that. Anger is the easiest thing you can play.
Right.
Because anger is not complicated at all. It's rage, it's fire, it's fury, and it's simple. You can. But playing hurt and playing comedy is actually trickier and harder. My dream was to really just be a respected actor. I would read books like Udo Hagen's Respect for Acting, and I was like, I just want to be a respected actor, and really, wherever that was, and it was on small stages. I don't know. Most of my career was like always working a lot of jobs while doing my art, and I felt very successful. And I felt like, well, this is the way it is. This is the way it's going to go.
Go on then, Vassos, introduce him if you have to.
Our next guest is the award-winning actor, playwright, director who's like officially been named one of the 100 most influential people on the planet. And here's one of the reasons why. He stars in the new film Sing Sing, out now. So please welcome a man who always cuts the mustard. By Jingo, it's Colman Domingo.
Here we go. Let's hear it for Colman.
You guys, thank you. Oh, thank you. This is the best energy to start the day with.
Let's dive straight into the deep end, off the top diving board. How the heck are you 55 years old? What is that about?
I just am. I don't know what happened.
It's
but
not
I'm like...
fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, he's 49. He looks like a kid as well. This is just...
He's a baby.
Seriously, what's going on? You look so incredibly well.
It's moisturizing. And
I think
it's like just being happy.
Do you moisturize?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because it
not
does.
Like in an insane amount of moisturizer.
Yeah, but it does help though, doesn't it?
It does.
We should do it all the time.
Yeah, our mothers were right.
Can you take me through your routine? What do you use, oil or cream?
I don't use oil. You know what? Sometimes I do get really deep into it. I use oils, and then you have to layer your skin.
That's time.
It takes a little time. Actually, it takes a little time. You got to depuff the eyes and stuff like that. I become a bit more. Men are becoming a bit more interested in grooming, so we can actually look a little younger. Are you doing anything to that face of yours?
I sauna every day and things like that. But no, I don't moisturize. I should. I've got paper thin skin as well. I've got terrible skin.
Sunblock is a good thing.
I know. Well, I had the thing last year, so I'm all over that. Yeah. Okay. But Colman, it's great to see you, man. Great to meet you. You are very good at your job, my friend.
Thank you.
Very good at your job. So we'll talk about Sing Sing in a sec. It's out now. It's great. We all watched it yesterday. You have been named as one of the 100 most influential people by Time magazine. Another round of applause for that, by the way. All right, here we go.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Okay,
Jingle bells.
Thank you.
What are you going to do with your influence, big guy?
I don't know. It is like
because the pressure's on, isn't it?
It is. It feels like a little bit of pressure when like someone names you that.
Yeah.
But then you feel like, okay, I've got something really kind of cool to live up to. I'm like, I take this stuff kind of seriously. I feel like, you know what, that's nice. So maybe I can actually, with just my small interactions in the world, make a difference.
Yeah, and you do.
If people are looking to me,
It's funny though, isn't it? Because Time magazine do this every year. Everybody looks forward to it the whole time. But it's not like they've gone for 10 or 5. It's a list of 100, so I presume there's a long list.
Listen, there's a long list, and when you're in the room, when they have the honors, and you're in the room with people who are doing incredible things in science and medical fields, you're like, I'm an actor, but you feel kind of small because you're like, these people are really changing the world and doing some great things, working with incredible communities, whether it's in Africa and things like that, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess apparently what I do makes a difference.
Yeah.
And you think so, but you think of in its own microcosm that like I'm just trying to make us feel more human with the work that I'm doing.
I know what you mean, but you're wrong because you're a storyteller, and we know that storytelling is our biggest superpower as human beings because it's the one thing other species can't do because they don't have imagination, they don't have memory, and they don't have linguistics. Yeah. So you do save lives. Of course you do. You save lives. You break down boundaries. It's the same thing. I know you can't say that about yourself, especially when you're humbled with the the company that you're keeping at that particular thing.
It's true.
But absolutely you can.
Yeah.
100% you can.
Thank you.
I didn't realize there was a thing that you go to.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing. There's a whole thing where you walk a red carpet and you're there with sports figures and people who are doing things with math or just really influential people, and you're like, you feel very humble, but I think everyone feels that way. You feel like, oh, I'm just trying to do what I'm doing in my little silo.
Yeah.
But apparently someone or some committee has taken notice.
Which it's good and not good, isn't it? Because it's to do with judging, and it's judging for a good reason as opposed to a bad reason. But obviously, for the 100 people that get it, there's a load of people that don't get it. Yeah. So, but you've got to do with it what you can and be positive about it. Yeah. Is there a is it like the Billboard 100? Is it 100 to 1, or are you just one of the 100?
You're one of the 100, which is great.
Like, I made it to the 100, but I was 67.
Exactly. I'm glad that there's not like a ranking. Yeah. Exactly. You're
like, if there was, and they thought, no, this is not going to land well. Yeah, because you've been nominated for things on the night and not won. Yeah. And you're thrilled to be nominated, but on the night, because you look like the loser. It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly.
Colman.
Well, any of those events, I like the idea of like, it's great when you're like nominated for something and your category's first. Yeah. Because then you're like, the pressures of, you're like, yeah, but also I go into it always. I won an award a couple of weeks ago. The Gotham Award, and literally I forgot what happens when your name is actually called, because I didn't consider winning. Honestly, it was the furthest thing from my brain. I thought, oh, it's so nice to be in the room and friends and colleagues and everything, and suddenly I'm like watching all the nominees, and my brain, it didn't catch up where I never thought about winning it. Yes. That's the weirdest thing. I just thought about, it's so nice to be in the room, and suddenly they said my name, and suddenly I was like, oh wait, what am I supposed to? Oh, I'm supposed to go.
So you genuinely didn't think you were going to win? I genuinely
did. I did not even consider it. I don't know why. Right. Because I think that, listen, I've been nominated for many things, and many times it may go someone else's way. Or I have the history of not attending an event because I'm working and actually win the award. Yes. So it's those rare moments. I was there for the Emmy when I won the Emmy, but like...
He's won an Emmy. Yeah. Open the door again.
I'm not just like throwing out the awards here. But thank you.
Oh, Emmy off.
But even when I won that, it felt very quiet, and I don't know why I get very quiet about things like that, and it doesn't feel like I don't have an outburst. I get very internal, which is, I don't know. I guess that's where my brain goes. I go very inside.
You're a lovely person as well.
Oh, thank you.
But he forgot in Gotham. Yes. Which is great. I like that.
Thank you.
Is it true that you started off in the circus?
I did.
Tell us about your circus days.
I started out in a circus in San Francisco. I was just trying to get a gig. I was 21 years old and, skinny, and I like to, do weird things.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, because I was always willing to try new things.
Whatever.
I don't know what I'm doing. And then, to be a bit fearless always. So I read in the trades, they had auditions for people who can sing, dance, act, and move, and willing to train with some circus skills. And I thought, I'll try that. And so I go for this audition, and they were teaching me tumbling and all these other things. And this one Master Lu Yi, this Chinese master, said to me, he says, "Oh, you have big heart." I said, "Oh, thank you." He said, "You have big heart. You can do anything." And I said, great. So they cast me, and then here I go learning to juggle. I juggled with 5 pins, and then I learned 5 feet tall stilt walking, clowning, and my specialty act was the aerial web. That long rope that you climb up, and then someone's down there whipping you around, and you're styling and all holding on just like this.
Did you do all that stuff?
I did all of it.
What?
Yeah. That
takes serious upper body strength.
It does. Well, again, I was like, 21 years old.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I've been 21. I can't remember ever having you tried to do that for
You didn't
ages.
have those arms when you were 21?
Well, VASTA takes up a challenge, a sort of physical challenge every year-ish. And for 1 year, it was the human flag, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were going for the flag. And he really
it's like that. So you have to use... So it's using your shoulders and triceps.
With one hand and pull with the other arm, and it's called a human flag.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I injured my shoulder, never meant.
Yeah, I used to be able to do that. I don't know if I could do that today.
But you were doing it with a solid pose, so you were doing it with a rope.
Yeah, I did it with the rope.
Were you athletic at school?
No, I wasn't athletic at all.
Well, how does that happen?
I don't even know. People thought I was in sports. I was never in sports or anything. Right. I was just a bona fide nerd.
Right.
And so, I don't know, but I was willing to try something.
What do you mean you're a nerd?
I meant I was a nerd because I was very, I was very bookish.
Yes.
I stayed in the library. Mm-hmm. I was very insecure, to be honest. I was very because I thought that I had a. It's funny because I can hear it. I used to have a speech impediment.
Yeah, you had a lisp.
Yeah, I had a lisp.
Yeah.
And that's why I've become such a passion. I had a passion for language.
Right.
And learning how to distill language and to speak and accents because I had to learn and learn how to, not have sibilant S's and things. My S's and Z's were a problem.
Yes.
Which is why I have to dentalize all the time.
Still.
I still have a slight one.
Right.
I can hear it.
I like a little bit of sibilance. I think it's very endearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, it is because it's like, yeah, you're right. There's something very sweet about it.
Yeah.
But, when you're a kid.
No, of course.
People tease you about it.
Of course.
And so I had speech therapy, and I would do that I remember Tuesdays and Thursdays after class, I would go to a speech therapist to really work on that. And so, I was always I think maybe all the things that sort of created the person I become was because I had these sort of, I wouldn't say they're not handicaps, but I had these challenges.
Yeah, differences.
These differences,
Yeah.
that when you're, 9 years old is not cool. In a way.
No, it's not cool, but being different is really cool.
It's
you just don't realize it at the time.
You don't realize it when you're a kid.
The coolest thing ever.
You want to be like everyone else. Listen,
Yeah.
I had a name Colman Domingo. I didn't even want my name.
You got the coolest name
But I wanted to
ever.
be like Bob or Chris or Max or something like that. Everyone wanted to be Max. Everyone wanted to be Max. But I was Colman, and people were like, well, what is that? And then my teachers would literally put an E in my name. I'm like, oh, my name doesn't have an E in it.
Yeah.
And so they would confuse me, and I would start putting an E in my name. My mother would say, why are you putting an E in your name? So there's all these things that was constantly confusing me. And it then made me very insular, and I thought very much someone who was shy and someone who just sort of stayed. The library was my friend.
So
this sounds like a very sad interview.
But you hung out with the greats.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah, of course you did.
I hung out with Encyclopedia Brown.
Who were you hanging out with? From
Encyclopedia Brown.
Right, okay.
And I don't know. I actually had a love of Shakespeare very early on.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
And was that...
Because it was language. It was learning language. It was like learning a new language in a way.
I know. And I didn't like books at school at all, but I love books now. I read all the time.
I love books. I love books.
I have now written more books than I read at school.
Really?
Yeah, it's just mad.
How many books have you read?
Only 4, but I read 2 at school, so that's double. You know what I mean? I was rubbish at reading.
Right, yeah.
And I love it now.
But I loved any time I had to read like Catcher in the Rye or something like that. I loved, it's funny, it sounds odd now to me, but I didn't realize how much I loved when the teacher would give us assignments for summer and summer reading. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I get to go and be in the library. It was like my favorite thing.
It's funny, isn't it? Because, social media, blah, blah, blah. We know all about that, all the act to do with social media. The thing about social media is good, bad, whatever it may be, whatever storytelling stuff, whatever's on it at the time. The one thing that definitely isn't great about it is that it's doing what snacks did to our diet, savoury and sweet snacks. Yeah. They get us away from the table, they get us away from the community, they get us away from learning how to prepare food. Now, sort of social media, to a lot of people, is making books, the longer form of reading, feeling like, oh, I've got to make a big meal, I've got to go and buy all the ingredients. People look at books now sometimes and they just feel heavy because they're so used to snacking on smaller text.
Yeah, and you're right, distilling things in very small ways.
Yeah.
And I think what's funny, because even at home, the thing that I know that I do, it's a very conscious thing. I don't own a television.
Right.
And I keep, if I want social media or stuff like that, I don't have a lot of things on my phone, a lot of apps. I have to go and look at it in a long form way.
Yeah, you make
on
it
my
more
computer
frictionful.
Exactly.
So it's harder to get
and I have
to.
books laying around my house everywhere. Books are everywhere.
Books are
So if I just walk by and I'm like, oh, here's that art book that I wanted to read, or here's I'm into maybe a few books here. Yeah. Usually it's art books and architecture books where I just have lying around because those are the things that inspire me the most.
So I watched your film yesterday. Vassos watched your film yesterday. Sing Sing. It's out now. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
So I love movies where actors play actors in the movie, and it opens up and it's an actor playing an actor movie. I love actors playing actors because it's so funny because they've got to pretend they're acting, and are they going to be a good actor or a bad actor?
They have to make a choice whether they're good or not, right?
And then after 5 minutes, it's not an actor playing an actor. It's an actor playing a convict who's playing an actor who's also a playwright. Yeah. It's all going on in there. Yeah. And it ends up being a true story. Yeah. Yeah, so tell everybody, frame it if you don't mind.
Well, you basically just did a great job of it. but it's a story about this rehabilitation through the arts program at Sing Sing Prison.
Yes.
It is a program that has been so impactful when it comes to really helping these incarcerated men get in touch with their feelings, have a sense of play, and do some real rehabilitation. It's something that started out in a very innocent way with some volunteers coming in to teach some theater games, and eventually did productions, and then they realized the impact that was having on these members who became a part of this group. So much so that in the United States, there's not many of these programs, but there's a less than 3% recidivism rate, meaning that less than 3% of people who go through this program, when they get out of prison, come back, compared to 60% nationwide. So it's something that really has been working. So this is distilled down into a story about brotherhood, and just about these two guys. Both are up for parole, board hearings, but they're trying to put on this crazy, massive play that involves Freddy Krueger and Hamlet, and it's a musical comedy.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, greatest hits. It's called Breaking the Mummy's Code. So it's based on this real a musical that they were putting on at Sing Sing Prison, and this real friendship. And most of my cast, that's the sort of the shoe drop in the film, that most of my cast, like 85% of them, are formerly incarcerated men who actually went through this program.
Yeah, and then you do that thing at the end, don't you, with the footage, and that's all.
Yeah, to show that. It's great.
Really
it's a nice thing.
It's really cool. Sing Sing, the place. You went to Sing Sing.
We filmed the exteriors at Sing Sing.
So what is Sing Sing for people who don't know?
Sing Sing is a maximum security prison in upstate New York.
Okay, so this is no open prison. This is no.
No, this is a hardcore prison.
Easy street.
It's a very famous. It's the term. Going upstate? Yeah, but there's a term in the States in a way, like, oh, I'm going up the river.
Yeah.
That's actually, Sing Sing.
Right.
Because it's up the Hudson River.
And why is it called Sing Sing? Forgive me, I didn't...
Sing Sing, I don't know why it's called Sing Sing.
It's ironic that it's now has a theatrical bent.
I actually don't know why it's called Sing Sing. Yeah, but there's nothing really musical about it.
No, I know at all, but I wonder why it's called Sing Sing. Interesting.
I know, I wonder why. That's actually a great question.
But you say that the first time you went to a prison, you immediately felt the awe of what it was like.
We literally shot in a decommissioned prison that was only decommissioned 2 weeks prior.
So the energy was still there.
Oh, all of it. You felt the ghosts. You felt that. Everything about it was just like, you didn't have to imagine. It wasn't on a sound stage or anything like that, and you had to build it. You walk in and you feel. It doesn't feel like the most humane place.
Yes.
To be very honest, the first thing that struck me was the lack of movement of air. So it started to make you feel lethargic in some way. And constantly, anytime we were in between takes, I needed to go outside. And, there was even the light and the quality. But the other thing is, like, my actual holding room was a holding cell. So that was just a part of the production because we were doing everything practical. So I would need an assistant to take me from my holding cell to wherever set that we were on all the time, because I couldn't figure out where I was.
Yeah.
Because it's by design for you to get lost. And then I thought, well, what does this do to you psychologically? What does it do? There's nothing about it that is really about rehabilitation or really being human. It's more about, being penal.
Yeah.
And so it made me re-examine and think about these spaces.
What's the point, or what is their point?
What's the point of it? To just penalize and keep you locked away? Or is there a path for you to actually get better?
Yeah, is it rehabilitation within or deterrent from without, I suppose?
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? And the experience was, with the other actors who were in prison, and
extraordinarily gratifying. I worked with men who actually, formerly incarcerated men who actually went through this program, who are out in communities making their, doing the work that they hope they can do by being human again.
In the film, a lot of what's happening is because people are being produced in the stage play. I'm thinking, must be, you must have encountered this from other directors and producers in your work as your career. And one of the things you talk about, they talk about anger, and you said, and your character says, anger isn't hard; it's comedy that's hard to play.
Absolutely.
Tell us more about that.
I think that anger is the easiest thing you can play.
Right.
Because anger is not complicated at all. It's rage, it's fire, it's fury, and it's simple. You can, but playing hurt and playing comedy is actually trickier and harder. Comedy is a lot of math. It's more like, you have to be a scientist to really, get a punchline and where it lives in your voice and placing it and all that stuff. So there's a science to, I think, and the comedians that I work with, and I work some really awesome ones who really look at it as a science, how to get a laugh, how to tell a joke.
Timing.
It's actually timing. It's really hard.
Rhythm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can get better with comedy in every way. And also, I think the same thing when it comes to, I'm always telling people, and I've learned this, being a practitioner of what I do for so many years, hopefully I've evolved a bit. And I do know that like, oh, maybe you're not angry. Maybe you're hurt. Because playing off of hurt is more complicated. Yeah. And you can actually name it. And you actually can heal from it. But when you're just anger, it's just rage. And you can't build off of anger. You know?
No, you can't. Your voice, because you are very loud in parts of this film, and you have this amazing bellowing voice. And coming in here, so I was thinking, I wonder. I've seen you on telly, and that brilliant round table you did with the other actors. That was awesome. I love that. And you do have a soft voice, but in the film, it's bellowing. Do you ever lose your voice when you shout? Because it was so impressive.
Since I come from the stage, I know how to pitch my voice.
Mate, it was so good.
It's funny because I feel like people.
You've such a soft voice now.
I do. I have a very sort of but it's funny. I think I grew into this voice too.
Right.
People were like, "Oh, you have a deep, resonant voice."
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that voice in my 30s. I think it's just because my own evolution that my voice dropped.
Maybe the Chinese master had something going on.
Maybe he did, but he also said, he said, "Listen, I know how to project my voice when I'm on stage." Like, I don't know. I was on stage. Last time I was on stage was at the Garrick Theatre here in London, and I know how to fill a room with my voice, but also know how to pull it back and just be intimate.
It's beautiful. What do you think that Chinese master saw in you with your big heart? Because he's definitely right. I can feel it now.
He said that you were. I don't know. He really looked at me and said that you are willing and able.
What was his deal?
His deal. He was this incredible Chinese master of acrobatics, and he really he taught me in many ways how to fly.
Right.
But he said you have the heart for it, which was great. And also I know that the other thing that I know for sure that I've carried into my 34-year career is having the heart of a clown. I think we all need the heart of a clown, which is a very fragile heart. It's a heart that's willing to be wrong and to make bad choices. Yeah. But then, you can build from it because you do have the heart and the desire, which is also a curiosity.
Also, laughter is such a great vessel, isn't it?
Gosh, it is.
It's a great vehicle, but it's also a great vessel.
It is.
Because when people start taking themselves seriously, they actually become calcified within a sentence.
I actually actively do things to make sure that I'm not taking myself too seriously.
I know. I've noticed during this interview, if we got a little bit straight there, you throw in a laugh just to keep it. Otherwise, people switch off anyway.
Well, because people take themselves so seriously, and I feel like, what are we trying to do, and how are we trying to communicate with each other if we're not trying to really communicate and laugh and be joyful? When people take themselves so seriously or try to put on something, a way of being, it's I don't know. I'm like, you really want to live with that? That's not as interesting as you may think it is.
He's Mr. Humour. He just brings in the laughs all the time.
Well, he walked out with nothing but joy. Yeah. It was wonderful.
He's not very funny, but he's just.
but he's got a good laugh.
Yeah, he's got a great. You've got it.
I'm funny.
There you go. That's it.
No, Vass walked out. I mean, it's like the beautiful thing is I think you really can tell a lot about a person in the first seconds. And he walked out with an open heart.
Yeah, no, he's got it all going on.
Yeah.
He's got it all going
on. And so do you. You came bounding here with so much energy.
I can't wait to meet you.
Your shoes off.
Legend.
No, but the way you walked in, it's like, oh wow, we're gonna have a good vibe.
Yeah, I went to have a wee just to get ready for the interview, so I was completely undistracted.
Yeah. You were very relaxed.
Yeah, I am very relaxed right now. Yeah,
love it.
What are you doing for Christmas?
What am I? I'm gonna go home.
Where's home?
Home is in Malibu, California.
Is it?
It is.
Oh,
I live by
do you
the
live
ocean.
near Dick Van Dyke?
I actually do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I live near Dick Van Dyke.
It was his birthday last week.
It was, 99, right?
99,
Don't you want to be like him when you're 99?
Yes, I do.
I feel like he's the goal for all of us.
Him. Just not me.
Just not.
You two are 154.
Exactly.
I want to be like you when I'm 154.
Exactly. I think we all should aspire to be like Dick Van Dyke.
Do you see him around? Apparently
he hangs out in Malibu all the time.
Right.
I'm always out working, so I'm barely at home. But hopefully I want to linger around Malibu where he goes.
Colman, Malibu.
Maybe our market.
Malibu, and you got what I was going to open this interview, but it just changed. With congratulations because you got to make another movie.
Yeah,
isn't it great?
I love what I do, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
You get to make movies.
Yeah, I get to make movies.
Isn't that amazing?
I get to be with incredible artists most of the time.
And you live in Malibu.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
And you've got a gorgeous husband.
Yeah, he's a beautiful man.
You're doing all right, aren't you?
We've been together for almost 20 years, too. I'm doing all right. I feel like I'm like, I don't know, it's funny because these are the days right now, to be very honest, where I want to always be in awe.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to ever feel like, oh, I got this, or I earned this, all this stuff. Like, I want to be, I'm like, look at where your life can go.
Yeah.
You know, I come from a very humble place, and anything that I never dreamed these kind of things. People were like,
what did you dream?
My dream was to really just be a respected actor. I would read books like, you know, Uta Hagen's Respect for Acting, and I was like, I just want to be a respected actor.
Right.
And really, wherever that was, and it was on small stages. I don't know. Most of my career was like always working a lot of jobs while doing my art, and I felt very successful. And I felt like, well, this is the way it is. This is the way it's going to go.
Are you successful enough to shop regularly down at Aviator Nation, just in front of the pier there?
I am that successful, but I don't, because I just don't like to spend money like that. I'm still a very humble man. I'm I have good things. I have a good car. I have some good jewelry and things like that.
Have you been in that store?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend that money.
No, but how cool is that store? I want to live.
Cool, but I feel like there. It's like it is very cool.
Yeah.
I just feel like, am I really going to spend like $300 for a T-shirt?
No. The bar next door, though, where they have the bands and all that. It
seems a little too. You know what? It seems a little too samey for me, though.
Really?
I don't know if it's really sincere.
Is it? I don't know. I mean, it
looks cool. I just feel like, am I that person in Malibu? I don't know.
I'll tell you what is great value for money in Malibu, and it's all the fancy and schmancy, but it's not expensive. It's that restaurant at the end of the pier for breakfast, for brunch. You know, on the end of the pier.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh great, that's good.
The best place.
So you're one of you like the pier and all that good stuff. I go down the other end where there's no one at the beach. North. I go far north.
Point Doomy?
Yeah, Point Dune and even further.
Right.
Where you just pull off and you go down a little beach.
The beaches down there are unbelievable.
They're unbelievable. And people don't go that far north.
No, they don't.
Malibu's 21 miles and people stop at like 10.
And they think this is Malibu.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, go a little further. And
because you can
that's the real Malibu people.
On top of Point Doom and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool around there.
It's really cool.
Good for you, mate.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I'm very pleased for you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Anything really exciting that you can't tell us about?
That I can't tell you.
Yeah.
That I can't tell you about.
It's always our last question. What can't you tell us about?
Why that I can't tell you about?
Yeah. Because that's stuff we really want to know.
I don't know what I can't tell you about. I can tell you that I've been being in London has been great because everyone's been watching my series, The Madness, which has been cool. So I've been going everywhere, and people are like, wait, they're because it's out right now, and people are like, they're watching it literally on the tube, and then they look up, and I'm standing there, I'm like, hi, they're like, wait a minute, I was just watching you.
Am I in it?
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels surreal because you're like, he is in this chaotic world, and I'm just somebody who likes walking around, Regent Street.
Are there things you can't tell us about?
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
Yes. Yes.
How many things can't you tell us about?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 things.
Honest to God?
Yeah.
6 things you can't tell us about?
Yeah. Because they're,
No, I get it. I get why. Nobody's ever come in with 6 before.
I literally just accepted an offer last night over dinner.
Over dinner?
Over dinner. But I've got to work out the contract, and then we know.
So the producers were having dinner with you?
No, they weren't. I was actually trying to, do other things, and then my whole team in L.A. and New York were on a phone call with me. Oh, that's
exciting.
I guess it is exciting. You're like, am I that person? I'm making deals over dinner.
My whole team, not my team, my whole team.
Well, there's a whole team.
Of course there is.
In order for me to do what I'm doing, there's a lot of people. You don't realize how many people you need.
Do you have a company?
I do have a company.
Do you have a production company?
I have a production company as well.
What's it called?
It's called Edith Productions.
What's it called, Edith?
And my husband runs it, and it's my mother's name, Edith.
Oh, God bless Edith.
And I have my mother's name tattooed on my arm, too, because my mother passed in 2006.
Yeah.
And the more that I can see her name, the more she stays alive.
I mean, she was an amazing mum, an amazing
she was a sweetheart.
Home builder, but she did something. What did she do? She did a job as well, didn't she?
Well, she used to work at a bank. She worked in
a bank.
She worked customer service at a bank that all my fraternity brothers would go to when I was in college, and they would open up their accounts.
So she's dealing with crazy kids. She goes to work for a break, has to deal with the crazy customers. She's a Saint Edith. You should call your Saint Edith.
Everyone opened up their bank accounts with my mom, and everyone loved her.
Well, Colman, it's a joy to meet you, mate.
Thank you, brother.
It's a joy to meet you. Colman Domingo, Sing Sing. Can we hear it for Colman Domingo, please? Sing Sing, playing in selected cinemas and available to buy digitally. It is a great film. It is awesome.
You guys, thank you.
Well done, my friend. Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas to you guys. Happy Christmas.